Hey guys, so I have been so into reading lately that I'm going through books like crazy. So the book that I read that was furthest away from now, I didn't really like it that much. And this was a book that was so popular and is still on so many bestseller lists so many years after it was written. What am I talking about? The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. Yes, so many people loved this book, but I thought it was just okay, but I'm never going to get all those hours back of my life. So when I finished this book, I was like, well, do I want to see what happens with this girl now? I don't care. I don't care. If you read this book, tell me what you think. I thought it was okay, but yeah, it's about a girl whose mother is best friends with uh a woman who owns like this house on the beach, and they she and her mother and her children go to this house every summer, and so she gets to be like, she grows up with her mother's friends, two sons, and she develops a crush on one of them. And then they get older, and you know things get more complicated. And I don't know, I just, maybe it's because I'm not a teenager, that's why I couldn't get into it. But I don't know, I didn't really like it much. So after I finished that, I was like, all right, what am I going to read next? Because I have a lot of books like just sitting on my bookshelves, but I like to mix it up. I like to, like, because this one had been sitting there for a long time. I like to mix it up. I like to read what I already have, but I like to buy new things and kind of go back and forth sometimes. So when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to read next, I started reading about different books, and I I forget how I came across this, but this is completely different than that last book that I just talked about. This is called A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. I loved, loved, loved this book. This is my first book that I've ever read in the genre dark academia. Now, I wasn't even familiar with that genre, and it's about people that are in college, but then the storyline has like a dark theme to it. But this was excellent, and it just so happens that my timing on this is perfect because there's a sequel to this coming out in July that I am definitely going to be reading. But it's about a girl who, now, first of all, I got to tell you, the world that this takes place in, it's some kind of altered, like an altered universe, in the sense that there's things about this that don't match up. And I wish I could talk to the author and ask her questions, because as I was reading this, I was so confused because I was like, well, wait a minute. The time period that they're describing is a long, long time ago. And yet they were driving cars and watching TV, and but this is supposed to be taking place in a time period where there weren't either one of those things. So the only thing I can think of is that it's some kind of altered reality from the world that we live in. But if you can just put that aside, if you can just overlook that, we'll say, because I always want things to make sense, but things seldom do in life or in books. Um, but if you can overlook that, it's about a girl who goes to a school, and this is going to make more sense when I explain this part to you. It's about a girl who goes to a school where they are not allowed to major in literature. It's only supposed to be for men. And so, because she can't major in literature, she has to take something else instead, and she chooses architecture. So, a notice is posted don't worry, I'm not going to give you any spoilers. But a notice is posted on the bulletin board that her favorite author's son, her favorite author is dead, but her favorite author's son wants someone to design some plans to redo his father's house. And it's like this big, old, Gothic type house on a cliff by the water. And she's like, this is my chance, I'm going to get to meet the author's son, and I'm going to get to redesign my favorite author's house. So she doesn't think she has a chance in the world, but she wins the contest, and she submits a drawing, and he tells her that, there was no way, I was not going to pick you. You submitted the best drawing. So she wins the contest. She goes out there, she meets the author's son, and it gets spooky, it gets mysterious. I don't want to tell you any more than that because I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to do any spoilers, but let me tell you, I went through this book so fast because it was so good, and I can't wait to read the sequel. Although I can't really imagine where they can go from where they left off because of the way that they ended it. But anyways, yeah, this was absolutely fantastic. And you really get engrossed in the characters, and you care about what's going to happen to this girl. And I guess that's all I should say about that. But the dark academia genre, I was like, okay, I need to find out more about this because, like I said, I had never even heard of it before. I wasn't aware of it. So I did some research, and I found out that the book that defines the genre that everybody says started this whole thing is called The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And I am this far into this, but it strikes me as something that if you were like a liberal arts major in college, that this would be required reading because of the nature of the story and the way it's written, and it's very like highbrow, like the vocabulary is very advanced, and I see why this gets such good reviews. This is fascinating, and it's the author said that she was inspired by her own college experience at a small liberal arts school in Vermont, Bennington College, I guess. So that was the inspiration behind this story. But the one thing, when I first started reading this, I stopped and I was like, oh man, I hate it when people do this. Have you ever watched a movie or read a book where they tell you the ending right at the beginning? I hate that. I don't want to know. I want to do the exact opposite. I want to be surprised at the ending and not see it coming. So they tell you the end of the story at the very beginning of the book. So I was kind of angry about that, but I said, well, based on the reviews that I've read and the marks that this gets, the high marks it gets in, and it's supposed to like define the genre, I said, I'm just going to keep going. And I'm glad I did because it is a fascinating read, and the character development is unbelievable. Like I can see these people so clearly in my mind, and they're very interesting characters, and it's definitely going to be something that I'll be happy that I have read. Now, I'm not familiar with this author at all, so when I finish this book, I might have to look and see what else she has written because this is the only book that they always mention in reference to her. But I'm sure she must have written something else. It says international bestseller. Um, so I bought this at Target and I bought this at Walmart. This is Walmart exclusive in the sense that it has something at the end of the book that's like a conversation with the author, and I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I'm not very far into this, but I'm hooked. um, so this whole dark academia thing, the more that I started doing research into it, I found out that some of the books that I have on my bookshelf waiting to be read also fall into that category, and I never even knew that they were part of any particular specific category. So if you have anything to say about any of this, or if you are familiar with this genre, uh, leave a comment and let me know. If you've read any of these books, what did you think? And I kind of feel bad about saying that I didn't like The Summer I Turned Pretty because I know so many people love that, but I don't know, it just wasn't my thing. It was too like, uh, I don't, too young. I don't know, not mature enough for the way I think, I guess. I don't know. So, anyways, that is what I've been reading, and thank you for watching. And if you like these book videos, please give it a thumbs up because um, these videos do not get very good numbers for me, but I love talking about books because I love reading. So, thanks. Bye, guys.